Launching one high-traffic website is straightforward. But as you grow that portfolio to 20, 50, or 100 sites, the operational complexity compounds. For most digital agencies, managing 20 high-traffic sites simultaneously creates massive budget and operational hurdles that the original setup was never designed to handle. This graph compares site count against monthly cost, revealing a massive divergence in billing. With managed platforms, your bill climbs sharply as you expand. By contrast, raw AWS compute costs stay relatively flat at scale. That gap between those two lines is why many agencies find their margins shrinking even as they sign more clients. Bridging it requires a different approach to infrastructure ownership. Managed platforms are built for convenience. For a small team with one or two sites, launching with a few clicks is worth the premium. But there is a transition point where that flat rate per site pricing stops being a convenience. At scale, the model begins to function as a recurring tax on every new site you launch. The math is direct. A single site on a managed platform might cost $1,000 a month. For an agency with 20 sites, that's a $20,000 monthly bill for infrastructure you don't actually control. These platforms also utilize shared infrastructure. If one client on the platform experiences a massive traffic spike, it can degrade performance for unrelated sites hosted on the same hardware. Ultimately, paying for operational ease at the start of your journey can become a structural liability that prevents you from scaling profitably later on. In 2026, Pantheon remains a common benchmark for the managed hosting route. For a high-traffic site on an elite tier, you can expect to pay between $700 and $1,200 per month. That price bundles a content delivery network and basic support, abstracting the server layer so you never have to see the code running the infrastructure. However, that abstraction creates a black box. You have no granular control over the server environment and no way to access the direct volume discounts or reserve pricing offered by cloud providers. Choosing this route means you are prioritizing speed of setup over long-term infrastructure scalability and financial control. A second option is moving directly to raw AWS to capture those infrastructure savings. This significantly lowers the raw invoice. Dedicated resources for a high-traffic site on AWS typically cost between $180 and $280 per month. To keep a high-traffic site stable on AWS, incoming traffic hits an application load balancer and distributes across an auto-scaling group. CloudFront serves cached content at the edge, while a multi-AZ database ensures the site stays online if a data center fails. While the components are reliable, the manual labor required to configure and tune the stack for dozens of independent client sites is substantial. This architecture carries a hidden labor cost. Keeping dozens of sites synchronized and secure often requires 20 to 40 hours of manual engineering every month, a cost that can easily reach $6,000 before you even pay your hosting bill. For most, the savings on the AWS bill are quickly absorbed by the cost of the engineering talent needed to manage it. This brings us to a third option, the bring your own cloud model, using an orchestration layer like DevPanel. In this model, you deploy a centralized management system directly into an AWS account that you own and control. Because you pay the cloud provider directly, you have immediate access to reserved instance and spot pricing, which can lower your infrastructure costs without a platform markup. To solve the labor problem, it uses infrastructure as code. This orchestration replaces manual effort with automated deployment pathways. With a one-click clone feature, you can deploy identical production-ready environments in minutes, ensuring every site in your portfolio follows the same tested architecture. For development and staging sites, an auto-pause feature spins down idle environments when they aren't in use, recovering compute spend that is usually wasted. You also maintain complete data sovereignty. You keep root-level access to all resources, meaning your client data stays within your own AWS account. By separating the management interface from the infrastructure, you get cloud-native pricing without the need for a dedicated DevOps team. To see how these three options compare for a 20-site portfolio, we can look at their performance across three key metrics. For infrastructure costs, Pantheon is most expensive, while raw AWS and DevPanel offer direct pricing. For engineering labor, Pantheon is low, but raw AWS requires manual oversight. DevPanel keeps labor low via automation. Finally, only raw AWS and DevPanel grant full root access. This comparison shows that BYOC orchestration is the only model that pairs raw cloud pricing with low operational overhead. The right choice for your agency depends on your current scale and the technical talent you have available. Under 5 sites and no DevOps team? Pantheon simplicity makes sense. Have dedicated cloud engineers building custom clusters. Raw AWS offers maximum control. But to manage 5 to 500 sites and protect margins without hiring engineers, the orchestration model is the best fit. It is also easy to test. You can connect your existing AWS account to the DevPanel Community Edition at no cost. Audit your current per site hosting fees against your monthly engineering hours. The numbers will tell you exactly which model your agency needs to stay